In the book De Re Militari by Vegetarius, written around, I think it's the 4th and 5th century, okay? This book, he's writing, lamenting the discipline and order of the Roman legions, right? The legions that conquered the known world. Rome, who had a footprint and had touched just about everything, from building in Byblos to North Africa, like an amazing, amazing empire. And Vegetarius is talking about exactly what the military discipline was and the obedience to the military discipline that put everything into practice, that basically built that empire. And there's a lot of high standards. There's a lot of high standards for not making your evolutions and punishments, like real punishments that go along with that. There is punishments that go along with being a traitor. There are punishments. The book is not just about punishments, it's also about strategy, discipline, and training. And the one thing that I noticed in the book as well is it not only talks about training the general troops, but also the commanders, right? They're also training. And they're training right alongside the troops. It's not point your finger at somebody and do this. They're all part of it. They're all part of these evolutions. So I'm in Vegas for a company conference. So where's this going, Rich? I'm going to tell you. Hit subscribe and like before your Play-Doh mind forgets, and then we'll keep going with the story. Subscribe. That's how it gets shared. I'm in Vegas, company meetings, and going through the lobby, and there's a bunch of old pictures from, Vegas back in the day, right? Men in suits on couches, being men, right? And that led me to thinking about something, a personal story to me several years ago. Not several, but maybe like over 10 years ago at this point, of a conversation I had with my wife and some other people as well. So it's probably, I don't even know, let's say 12 to 14 years ago. And I'm getting ready to go to church, to go to Mass. And I'm putting on slacks and a tie, putting on basically the whole suit. And if you look at these old pictures, it's all guys in suits. So where am I going with this? There was a weird situation where my wife was like, "Why do you bother getting dressed for church? Why are you doing this? Like no one else is doing it." And I was going to that time to a what you would call a Novus Ordo Mass, which is the new rite of the Catholic Mass, and it is very lax. It's extremely lax, and there's guys in flip flops and shorts. It's like, why are you putting in this effort to do this, to go to Mass? And I was like, well, I'm going to give my best, right? And I think that leads, Vegetarius, De Re Militari, going through the evolutions, guys, start to give your best. It's like, well, no one else is. No one else is, but you also have to take responsibility for you. Because once you start cultivating that type of culture around you, you'll find you meet other people that are very like-minded and even admirable of you, of the way you train, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you don't speak. And they're going to start asking quite a few questions. Now, I think, and this is nothing to do with dressing for Mass, but when I made the switch to going to a traditional form of the Mass, where the vestments are different, the sacrifice is different, like there's more emphasis put in the precision of the Mass. It's a different Mass than the Novus Ordo. It's different almost in every single way as far as the prayers are concerned, and there's not much remains from the traditional form to the Novus Ordo form. Why am I telling you this? Why do you care? The point being is when these men, these priests, are also taking the time to put on splendid vestments and say the Mass precisely and perfectly according to the rubrics, There's a discipline and an order in that that's owed to God. Then everyone in church also as well, everybody attending the Mass starts stepping it up. Like they level up. They're leveling up for others. They're leveling up for God. They're leveling up for the priest. Same thing in discipline with De Re Militari. Like it's, you start to create a culture around you of discipline and order. And it starts with you. So back to those pictures in the lobby of Las Vegas of guys in suits walking, carrying themselves properly. There's a very commonality. And listen, I'm guilty right now. I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but caveat, I just returned from the gym. I'm not wearing sweatshirts and gym shorts all day. So that's a distinction to be made. You need to start carrying yourself with discipline and order and self-respect, because it's easy to say to everyone else, like, why are you like this? And then you just quote unquote fit in. So stop fitting in and stop worrying about what other people think about you. Oh, like, what a weirdo, you're wearing a suit and tie to a lax mass with a guy next to you who's wearing flip-flops. Yeah, man, I am. The other thing too, like that doesn't happen anymore because I don't attend that mass anymore. But the point being is it starts to set a precedence. It doesn't make me feel weird to wear a suit and have my kids dressed up and my girls veiled properly for mass. But it's going to make that guy sit next to me uncomfortable. There's nothing common about anything. Start carrying yourself uncommonly. That means just stepping up how you carry yourself, your mindset. Where are you going to find out about this stuff, Rich? I suggest you guys, I'm a big proponent of reading old books. Like you can learn a lot from men in old books, whether they're stories or part fiction, part nonfiction. Doesn't make a difference. You're going to learn a lot from those. A lot of the recommended books I have is kick it off with the Bible, make a plan, read it. Definitely start. I mean, if I were you and I was talking to my younger self, I'd probably kick myself into, the traditional form of the Mass. I'm Catholic, so that makes my life a little bit easier. But if you're not, you might be a little bit overwhelmed. But so what? So what? It's true. That's the thing. If it's true, then you start acting as if it were true, and that puts a discipline and an order upon you. Also read military books like De Re Militari. Write that down. Go get it. Read it. Get the complete form. It's amazing. It's in English. How great is that? Beowulf. I've talked about Gilgamesh multiple times. These are great stories for men. Also Homer, the Iliad, and the Odyssey. Terrific, terrific stories about how men act, how men behave. There's no like weepiness or junk in there. And then when there is, and there's guys that like Alexandros Paris in the Iliad that are controlled by their passions, you can see that, and you can see how disgusting it is, and how even Homer's thinking it's disgusting, and his father for not reprimanding him. There's a lot of things to think about, like the king of that city, Priam, I think that's how you say it, probably should have sent Helen back, but he didn't. That's some weak-ass leadership. So guys, I ask you to subscribe and share this, obviously, because that helps get the message out. And while there's no counterweight of obedience for you, you have to start being your own counterweight and stepping outside of your comfort zone. I also suggest you work out. Like working out, getting up early, having purpose, that makes a big difference in how you carry yourself, how you dress, how you speak. So think about these things, guys, and that's my little message for today. So a thought from guys in suits in a hotel lobby to De Re Militari and Vegetarius to the Latin Mass. What a weird conversation, but pretty cool nonetheless. So start carrying yourself properly, discipline and obedience. And I want you to know, guys, like, I make these videos as much as a reflection upon myself as I do for you guys, because every single guy that can start disciplining himself and starts to get himself into order make a very safe society. Why do I care? Especially if you're living somewhere else in the world, or in Canada, or in Europe, and you're watching this, or in California, or whatever, I don't care, wherever you live, because that has a trickle down effect. Like, it starts to affect everyone in your life. And it's very, very critical, because guess what? I have children that are going to come up in this world, and they are going to have children, and it's generational. So start stepping everything up. There's nothing common. Like, stop thinking everything is common and you don't want to be quote unquote weird. Weird for reading books. Weird for not signing up to stupid propagandish movies and propagandish news and propagandish ways of doing things. Like, get out, man. Just think about that, guys. So that's it. Subscribe before you forget, because I would forget if that was me on the other end of this thing. I totally forget, because you get on the scroll and it turns your mind to Play-Doh. So that's it. Out.